Good morning. The date 9/21/2014. The time 8:40 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we're gathered here today to take a look at all-time new highs that we hit up here on this S&P. This is the MMT platform that the traders use to make decisions on right here. We had a consolidation. We had a pullback, and I'm going to show this in different segments, is where this 60-minute chart is what this is. 60 minutes on the S&P 500. And we can clearly see from this consolidation we broke out and we hit an all-time high at 219.26. And the date was on September 18th was that high, and we kind of came down. We pulled back to 2007 here, and we had a quadruple witch. We had a big expiration that just happened. So I am going to show where the pullback was relative to the 60-minute consolidation to break out to new all-time highs on the S&P. Here is the calendar date that we have right here on the reversal that we called for. This particular high at the time was 2001, and so this high here was also 2001, and we had this 60-minute pullback and sell program that hit, and on this first low here we had a low of 1990. And then we rallied up here to a lower high, meaning that the real good reversal on the 60-minute on the S&P happened right here. And that date, just so you know, was on 9/5. And the high was 2007. Once again, on a 60-minute, we made a low over here on September 10, 9/10. And that low was exactly 1982. On this low on a 60-minute. We rallied on up here to these highs right here, and here was a high right here, and that was 1997 was the high, and the low was 1997. So we had that secondary pullback to this consolidation, and this is where the S&P 500 actually made lows of 1978.48 right here, and we consolidated on a 60-minute level on a breakout, and then we made this high here in the short term. You can clearly see that high, and this high was exactly, let's take a look. Once again, it was right up here above the 2000 area slightly. From the lower handle, once again, this is that breakout, and we pull back to 1995 on the S&P 500, and then we continue to rally to the all-time high up here, and we can clearly see that 2019 was that high. So basically, we have a lot to talk about as far as where these highs are going to continue to go. Here's another thing that I'm going to show you momentarily. The fresh new 52-week high is right up here in the MMT platform on a 60-minute bar. That was our high on a 60-minute bar. A 60-minute bar break back down here on an intraday level to 2000 and let's just take a look. 2006. So I'm showing everything of where the new 52-week high is right here. This is what it looks like, and it was a quadruple witch, and options expiration on Friday. Index is coming to an end of the quarter for the S&P, and a lot of it was had a lot to do with the options expiration making this all-time high. One of the things I want to show here on a weekly reading of the S&P 500 is it clearly shows how this weekly breakout was right here versus that 60-minute breakout. So we make the low here, and we rally on up to 52-week highs. Over here, we dip down to the lows that I told everyone way back when, and this here was a daily consolidation, believe it or not, then we make another all-time high. So we have these little pullbacks, new all-time high. Fall starts on September 22nd. So when we look at how overbought this is, we do take a look to see why it would have another pullback, as it will. So on a weekly level, we are in what we call a technical overbought level, but it's very short time. It's not like some of the other overbought levels that we've had. But here's a weekly, a 3-week consolidation to a breakout to a new high here, and the high was 2019. Okay, the low of the high was, so the low intraday on the weekly format was 1978. Okay, we closed at 2010.40 on the S&P 500. This is what it looks like on a weekly. All right, MMTs, I'm going to focus on 1903 on the S&P. We had a great little pullback here, but each time the risk on trade came into play. So I'm going to zoom up from where this period was on a daily, and you can clearly see, everyone, how we had made this consolidation of 1978, and the low was 1978. This was the pullback from the original high that we had right here on a daily level, and we broke through that ever so slightly up here to 219, meaning that the S&P can easily continue to go higher on lower volume. So the quadruple witch, you have the weekly, you have the daily, you have the 60-minute, and once again, S&P 500 to all-time new historical highs. Right here we had a 5-day. Here's the day right here, that bottom on a daily. It came right in and bought this up on a daily. Then we continued to rally on lower volume, believe it or not, and we had Alibaba that was released, let us not forget. So there's that high right here. Here's the 5-day breakout. Here's the first day at the bottom. Here's the third day up at the top on a daily. And then we can clearly see that there was some selling into Friday with that triple witch expiration and the options pit, and the options are indicating that the S&P will go lower, but we're going to measure what this breakout could still happen going into the end of September, and that's going to conclude the S&P 500.